Welcome back. Another News of the Day video for all you fine people for your July 1st. So, of course, happy Canada Day for anybody who didn't see the first video today. And it's a busy one. It's a busy one. And so I'll stand here, you guys, and pause and go through what the topics are. But again, there's chapters in every video. So every news video has chapters, unless it's a single topic video, in which case you don't really need chapters for one topic, right? I mean, I could, but why? All right, so the Vancouver Canucks making news today. Trent Cull has been taken out of his job as head coach with the Abbotsford Canucks, moved up to assistant coach with the Vancouver Canucks from Abbotsford. And they also bring in Mike Yeo as an assistant coach, and now Jeremy Colleton will be the head coach here in Abbotsford. So big changes for the Canucks organization when it comes to coaching and all of that. And I'm glad to see that there's changes being made. I hope they work out well. But the big news is this guy, number 6, Brock Boeser. He's sticking around. So all the trade rumors for all those years, they can be kind of put to bed today. 3 years at $6.65 million for the cap hit. Not bad. It is considered to be a little bit above market value, but the fact that it's a 3-year deal means it's probably going to end up paying off pretty well for Vancouver. Boeser, I don't hide the fact that he's one of my favorite players. I don't hide the fact that I really like the core of the Canucks. I really hope that we don't see that core get blown up. So I'm glad with this contract. I think it's a good contract. Again, the qualifying offer for him as a restricted free agent was going to be $7.5 million. So the fact that he's negotiated his costs down from $7.5 million, which he could have gone for 1 year, and instead signed 3 years at a $6.65 million cap hit is nice. Also, they got Jack Rathbone done, 2 years at $850,000 per season. They're also keeping Noah Juleson around. And so I think Stevens was another one that signed some AHL signings to keep guys here in Abbotsford. Good for them. For Rathbone, it is a 2-year contract at $850,000 per season. It'll be interesting to see if Rathbone plays with the Canucks as a regular this year, if he ends up coming up a lot. The one thing I do wonder is with Hughes and Rathbone both being below 6 feet, defenses in the NHL tend to be bigger for more successful teams. It is unusual to see a team with 2 guys below 6 feet on the blue line. It rarely happens. I'm not saying it can't work, but I'll be interested to see if Rathbone gets worked into the lineup by Vancouver. But could not have been happier. Might have been doing a little song and dance when it came out that Boeser was re-signed. So 3 more years. Good news, at least to me. I know not everybody will think it's good news, but that's okay too. And Julien Gauthier has signed a 1-year extension with the New York Rangers for $800,000. It's a depth move, bottom 6 guy. Played well for them, and so they reward him, give him a 1-year contract. He was going to be a free agent, but he's sticking around with the Rangers for at least 1 more year. However, on the less optimistic news, Toropchenko, who really came into his own for the St. Louis Blues this season, has had shoulder surgery. He's going to be out until December. So that's a tough blow for St. Louis. Now, is he replaceable because he's bottom 6? Sure, but the guy's a beast. It's a shame he's not going to be playing for St. Louis to start the season. So Toropchenko is out, and we'll see what St. Louis does. Free agent market's coming up. GM Armstrong saying there was nothing new to report on the impending free agents, including David Perron. So that tells me these guys may very well end up hitting the market. But again, they've got almost 2 weeks to get it done. There are some players looking to get it done. If you're looking for news on Gaudreau, it wasn't on the board because there's no news on Gaudreau at this point. Just that he's looking over Calgary's latest offer, and the fact he didn't jump at it, it'd make me kind of nervous if I was a Flames fan right now. But again, if they don't sign Gaudreau, they have a lot of cap space to sign somebody else, bring somebody else in, and you just never know. Now, one of the bigger news items of the day is the fact that Ivan Fedotov, who was coming over to play for Philadelphia, signed a contract with the Flyers, has been detained. He's been detained by the Russian authorities for essentially the equivalent of like draft dodging. Russians are supposed to have 1 year of military service. So what they're saying is that if he, comes over to North America, he's dodging that 1 year of military service. Now, I remember all those years ago, many, many years ago, money works. I think if the Flyers call the right people and put some money in the direction of the issue, probably gets Fedotov released. But what this also means is that for teams going into the draft, if you're looking at a Russian player, the uncertainty when it comes to Russian players right now might cause you to look at a North American or a talent from Sweden, Finland, somewhere that's not, based in Russia at this point, because there's just so much uncertainty. So we were talking a lot about whether or not players would get visas for this coming season. Now the question becomes, what other players might they detain and say, you have to stay here and spend a year in the military? Them's the rules. So it's possible this is just a rule that they haven't been enforcing. It's possible that maybe there's something unique with the Fedotov situation, but I think it's going to scare off GMs when it comes to drafting Russian players. And of course, Miftakhov's coming up next year. There's a lot of hype around him. That may turn to uncertainty quickly. So we didn't consider whether or not Russia might not let everybody go, but here we are. And so, we'll keep an eye on this and see if there are any other players that maybe are detained and not allowed to come over when they sign their contracts. Kuzmenko, for instance, with the Canucks, I haven't heard anything saying that he's been barred, nothing like that, but right away I saw Canuck fans online saying, so what does this mean for players that are Russian that are signed to the Canucks? And we don't have the answers right now. So we'll see how the situation works out with Fedotov. Chuck Fletcher already putting out a statement that they're aware of it. They're looking into it. Obviously, they're going to make phone calls. And again, it may come down to, well, if you really want the guy, here's the amount of money. And again, I'm basing that on just the transactional way that things were when the Iron Curtain was coming down in the late 80s, early 90s, and you could see that there were some cracks there. Anyways, we'll see. Again, this could end up being much bigger. Fedotov in and of itself, that one player probably fighting it out for the backup job in Philadelphia this coming season. But if this means that a guy like, for instance, if you're a Minnesota fan, maybe they say, well, Kaprizov needs to stick around. So we'll see what happens from here, but it may just be a one-off. It is just very unpredictable right now. Next up, first player put on unconditional waivers. This is a sign they're being bought out. The Tampa Bay Lightning doing it with goaltender Amir Miftakhov, who played in the AHL. He played some games in the ECHL as well. Sounds like he's probably going to end up going to the KHL. So this is the first of the buyouts, which means that people online are immediately saying, well, why aren't these guys bought out? They don't have to start the buyout process today. I am sure there are GMs who are poring over their lists, going over and debating who to keep and who not to keep. And so Miftakhov was probably one that came to the Tampa Bay Lightning and said, yeah, I don't want to, stick around next year. Or maybe they told him that he's not part of their plans, and so they're buying out that end of his contract. So, again, unconditional waivers means another team can take him, but very, very rare that happens. When it's unconditional waivers, almost every time somebody's just passes through without any issue. Now, referring back to a video I did yesterday, it's official. Jim Montgomery is the coach for the Boston Bruins. They sent out releases on that. And again, I support that decision. I think Montgomery is a good coach. I think he'll be good for the Bruins. Everything publicly seems to be positive regarding this decision, which is good because they lost some of that trust from the fan base over the Cassidy firing. So in bringing in Montgomery, it seems like they've won some of that back, although there's definitely still some we didn't want to lose Cassidy feeling in amongst the fan base. But good on Montgomery, as I said in the video yesterday. Wish him all the best. Now, Philip Forsberg with the Nashville Predators. Darren Drager reporting there's a $1 million difference in cap hit between what the player wants and what the team's offering. That's not nothing, but when I see that, all I think is, why doesn't the team and player just, one comes down $500,000, one comes up $500,000, and it's done. So to me, when there's a $1 million difference, I mean, to you and I, $1 million is a ton, but when you're looking at a pro contract, especially some of those NBA contracts, dear Lord, when I'm seeing some of those contracts, like he's getting, I don't even know that guy, but for $10 million a year, I'd at least say hi. But yeah, Forsberg's difference of $1 million just doesn't seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things when it comes to losing a guy who is one of your best forwards. So again, I would suspect that there'll be some kind of a meet in the middle kind of thing, or maybe term is different for whatever he ends up accepting compared to what they're offering. So maybe he takes the lower cap hit, but he takes less of a term in exchange, right? So we'll see. But if they're only $1 million apart, it should happen, right? It just seems like a small amount by pro sport standards to say, well, we couldn't keep him because we just didn't want to spend that extra $1 million. And so now we're not in the playoffs. So I'm not saying that necessarily happens, but Forsberg's a dynamic talent for them. So, all right. Also, Mike Smith. This is interesting. Mike Smith's got a lot of bumps and bruises, 40 years of age. And Darren Dreger's reporting that Smith's having conversations with the Oilers, and it's possible that for the final year of his contract, he makes $2.2 million this year, at least that's the cap hit, that he may end up on the LTIR. He may end up on long-term injured reserve. May not play for them this year. So that would mean that both Koskinen and Smith would be gone. So Skinner would have to get a backup role then, or the Oilers go out and get 2 new goalies, Carolina style, right? So it'll be interesting to see how the goalie carousel turns out, how quickly people say, so Ville Husso to Edmonton, or maybe Jack Campbell. The dollar amounts I'm seeing with Campbell, and again, TSN reporting Campbell is expected to get about $6 million a year in free agency. I love Jack Campbell. I don't know, with $6 million, that seems high. That definitely seems high for a guy that hasn't been a starter that often, that long, not at the National Hockey League level. A lot of risk to that contract. That'd be the same amount of money that Markstrom got from Calgary, and Markstrom's resume was stronger before he got that contract than Campbell's has been for Toronto thus far. Again, I really like the player. I think Toronto would like to keep him around, but at $6 million a year, that would probably scare off the Leafs. It'll be interesting to see who would pay that cost for Jack Campbell and for how long. 3-year, 4-year, 5-year contract? How long do you pay him that? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But for Mike Smith, it looks like he's going to end up on LTIR, which is going to cause people to say, LTIR, huh? Again? It's like every time somebody's rumored to be going to LTIR, immediately all the detectives come out with, but is he really hurt? Yeah, usually guys don't really want to sit. Mike Smith's a very competitive guy, so I don't think he'd sit if he didn't have to. Now, one thing to keep in mind is today being July 1st, it's not just Canada Day. No. It is signing bonus day. So players have got their signing bonuses in hand. Now let's just say that you have a player on your team you want to trade. He has a $4 million signing bonus. His cap hit's $8 million. You've paid that $4 million signing bonus. He is now a very attractive target for a team that has a lot of cap space, because if they add him, that's an $8 million cap hit, and they only have to pay him $4 million this year. So some of those guys who were on kind of iffy contracts, if there's a signing bonus involved, those contracts become more attractive after today. So that may mean more movement of players starting tomorrow. And again, don't just look at the cap hit, look at the signing bonus. If that signing bonus has already been paid, team's making out pretty well. But yeah, so that may help the market tomorrow. We'll see if that is in fact the case. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding any of these items. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And again, Brock Boeser is staying in Vancouver. I'm very happy about that. All right, thanks for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.